Hey, man.
Nah,
That
bro.
is hilarious.
That's not what we talking about right now.
But it's close. I mean, it's right there. It all got something to do with pushing from behind. It's all
Mike
the same concept.
Honcho, what's good?
You look
What's
at
good? They look like military blues. All right, I'm gonna keep it a bean. How many of y'all? Okay, y'all on the panel. How many of y'all took these and put them up against the military blues?
Yeah, I did it. I'm actually gonna make a video about that.
That color's pretty close.
Mr. Think was the one that set the blueprint for that aspect of it. Ha,
Yeah, that color's pretty close.
All right, so I'm gonna clap back at it. You ready?
Whoa.
So the pine greens. Well, I can't say the pine greens look like it because the Jordan 4 RMs came out afterwards.
Oh,
but what about the Jordan 4 RMs versus the pine greens?
let me tell you what the Jordan 4 pine green RMs are. That is a donor pair in case you jack up your midsole on the SB4s. Okay,
I like that.
On the
I like
pine
that.
green. That's what they are. It's a donor pair.
I like that.
All
Good
right?
morning, Jason C. Match.
So I would almost employ some of you guys who have the pine green SB4s.
Makes sense.
To just go ahead and pick them up just in case something happens. You have that, you have that donor pair, and hopefully you got someone trustworthy out there that can do a soul swap for you.
It's a smart move.
I would do it. I would do it.
Well, we're gonna talk about
and Jay doesn't Rejuvenator has restoration services. I don't know if they'll soul swap for you, but yeah, see that blue's almost the same too. That diffused blue.
The blues are close. The blues are
You know
close.
what I mean?
Where you don't have the SB4s yet, do you? The Midnight Navy joints.
I do not have the Midnight Navy SB4s yet.
Yeah, see, we need to be able to put that together for that comparison. Well, my Ahmad 3s are actually on the way. I got shipping notification 2 days ago from FedEx.
Nice.
That they're on the way. So we will not be waiting forever to get our 3s, obviously, because Jay already got them.
Yeah, it looks like prices started to kind of take a dip on them as well.
Come down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys have not checked out my Mommy Year Air Jordan 3 diffused blue video, man, listen, y'all need to check that out. I'm telling you right now. I got a lot to say, good things about this sneaker, and definitely some things that I'm just unhappy with. So, if y'all haven't checked that out, man, go ahead and rock with that video. Also, you ain't saw this video yet, man. Come on, man. If you ain't seen his video, come on,
why
man.
you laughing at your boy?
Come on, man. Check that video
out. Why you
out.
laughing at your boy right now?
Check that out, too.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are. Why you laughing at your boy?
What happened, Perp?
I'm not laughing at
Nah,
him.
son. Hold on. Nah, son.
He's giving you.
You can't just start
Okay.
laughing.
All right, Perp.
And not put the rest of us on game right now. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Number one, Jay has no sense at all.
Oh, here we go.
Jay hit on those damn shoes and was like, "Yo, Perk, man, hey, man, I hit on your sneakers for you, man." I'm like, "Wait, what? Really? What I get? These ugly ass 95, 97 Air Maxes."
Hey, yo.
I'm sending them to you express overnight. I'm like, you don't take them shits and throw them in the trash.
Damn. Damn.
But listen. Jay probably has the highest success rate next to you where your kicks as far as hitting on GOAT. So I'm not mad at him at all. He's just hilarious.
Yeah, Jay, how many GOAT pairs have you hit on?
He said on quite a few.
He hit the Oregon Duck SBs.
Solid too, but I think something else. I can't remember, man. I'm just gonna say right now I got 2. I probably got rid of some other stuff, but I definitely 2. I hit on I hit on some Oregons.
You hit on the Oregons. You hit on those Air Maxes.
Mm-hmm.
You hit on something else. You hit on
something else. I can't remember, man. Whatever it was, I got rid of it.
Yeah, man. Look. Keep it a bean though. You brought up prices. We might as well go ahead and kick this off right now, bro. When it comes to prices, because this stock price is just sheesh. Sheesh. This is on the backs of our president, whether you like it or not, Donald Trump, and the tariffs that are going on right now. And listen, I saw it. This was as low as, where were we at? $53. Okay, this was as low as $53 at one point. Yeah. And then it started to come back up a little bit because there was some talks that apparently the U.S. and Vietnam are going to be in talks to go ahead and try to mitigate this issue with the tariff stuff. Oh, don't worry, we'll get to the Tesla stock because that's going to be another topic of conversation that we got to get Mr. Think's thoughts on. But we have our resident businessman on here, Purple Haze. Perp, your thoughts, sir, on how these tariffs work? Number one, for those y'all out there who may or may not understand it, just at a high level. And then why we're seeing what we're seeing as far as stock prices here, in particular with Nike.
Whew. Where do I begin? Besides, I told you so. Sorry, had to get that out the way. My Tourette's be kicking in. So when you really think about it, right? This has been in talks ever since Trump was set to take over in January, right? But these tariff talks have been going on potentially ever since the middle of September of last year, right? So for all of you all who may not be familiar with what a tariff is, it's basically, it's a tax. It's an extra tax, right? Imposed by government on imported goods, right? That could be commodities. That could be like sneakers, materials for clothing. It could be goods. It could be canned goods. It could be, farm fresh goods. It could be anything, right? So basically, it's essentially driving up the price point to potentially discourage consumption at the end of the day, right? But it also serves as a sense of a balancing lever, right, for global economic trades. So just give an example, right? If we are being taxed by China, right, at say 15% tax, right, that then moves over to our side of the house, where then we then figure out, well, how do we offset that? Now we can offset that in the sense of state and local government, where we can raise up our taxes or lower taxes in order to offset those extra tariffs, or we can then create tariffs of our own to then tax China with. So it offsets and acts as a wash. Now, typically over the last 50 years, we've been doing that, right? Tariffs have been always there, but they've been at a way lower percentage rate. So percentage rates like around 3 to 5%. Now, we haven't seen tariffs of this magnitude since the Great Depression at this point, right? And we've never will see tariff percentages of this sort. We're talking about 10, 15%, in some cases 23% tariffs for a lot of these different countries that are imposing on us right now. So what that does is it tanks our taxation and our ability to match at that point, which then does one or two things. It sends us into a recession, or it sends us into a depression, right? For you all that don't know, depression is kind of like the building stage leading up to a great recession. Now, stock prices are reflecting that right now. They've been at a rock bottom low. I don't think we've seen stock prices this low, and Mr. Think, keep me honest here, since 2020. Yesterday, the NASDAQ opened up at 1,000 under, right, in the red, which we haven't seen in years at this point. So it becomes a ripple effect. Now, how does this affect you right now is the big question. It affects you right now because you look at canned goods, you look at commodities, you look at materials, you look at sneakers, things like that affect everyday life and taxations and shipping over. You look at things like, for example, automotives, right? Automotives are set to go up an extra almost 10% in extra tariffs, right? So what does that mean to you? That's huge. I mean,
That's
you're
a lot.
paying an extra 6,000 plus more for a
Yeah.
vehicle now, right? To
Foreign
offset those
vehicles.
costs. Well, yeah, but also American vehicles because
Yeah, because parts are coming from overseas.
Canada, Mexico, for
Yeah.
example, right, have a lot of parts in a lot of these foreign cars.
Yeah.
So those are taxed as well. So if you have multiple parts on one particular car, for example, let's just say Impala, right? Let's just say they're parts that come from Canada, they're parts that come from Mexico. Now that taxation, you're double dipping as far as taxation goes. You're not getting one flat rate tariff, right? You're getting multiple attached to one vehicle. And that's why people are saying right now, if you need or want a car, go out right now between the next 30 to 60 days and get it. Because after that, inventory on a lot of these lots is going to be out the door, and a lot of these tax tariff vehicles will be coming off the ships and onto the inventory parking lots.
Mm.
So that buck is passed on to you as the consumer, which then skyrockets the value of things. Sneakers will go up an extra $75 in some cases, which is crazy, right? Cars will be going up extra 6,000 plus, things like that. Egg prices have gone down, but however, they will
Oil's
be
down too.
Yeah, but
Oil's down too, like 7% or something like that.
Yeah. So you're going to see a dip in certain commodities right now, but within the next 30 days, you're going to see them go through the roof, which is crazy.
So here's something that I want to tell the chat. And Perp, you and I, we talk offline a lot about movements of commodities, right? How to go ahead and make that dollar. I'm telling you guys, like right now, we've talked about this before, and I've said it, and I'm gonna say it to you right now. This is the perfect time to start. If you have not invested, this is the perfect time to scale back, going out, right? And this is the time to buy now. So when I'm talking about, we could talk about stocks. I mostly like ETFs. I love ETFs. ETFs has always been my thing, really. But this is the perfect time right now for you to really sit back, watch, and just take some money, if you have it, and put it towards whatever your interests are. Do your research first, but this is the beyond perfect time. If you don't understand what I'm saying to you, like, just look it up, do some research right now. This is the perfect time to get into ETFs, stocks. Perfect time, I'm telling you right now. And all you have to do is be disciplined and just hold your horses. Hold off. And I'm telling you, at the end of the road, it could be 2, 3, 4 years. It doesn't matter. You will have a definitely ROI, return on your investment. I am telling you this right now.
And for $19.95 a day, I teach this course for 3 months.
Oh, shit. Don't do that.
Yeah, there comes the pitch.
They'll be asking where I
Just a
sign
heads
up.
up. Just a heads up to
Mr. Think does a really good breakdown of this as well. He's our resident investor here, as far as the group goes. So, Mr. Think, I really think it's valuable, man. If we just take a day coming up, man, and just kind of
we should do it.
Yeah,
we should do it. And to piggyback off of what Jay said, ETF stands for an exchange traded fund, which all it means is that it's a basket of companies. That's all within that same fund. So they're going to put the best of the best companies within this fund. So typically you get the best performance, among its sector. So that's what an ETF is. It'll be a safe play depending on your risk. An ETF is definitely a safer play. So.
And a lot of people don't have 401ks, right? So I think there's some very valuable plays in there that you could go over, Mr. Think, that will teach just the average novice, how to really get involved, what to do, and what platforms to use, more importantly, because there are multiple platforms that you can utilize.
Right. I also wanted to piggyback off of something you mentioned, Perp. Regarding the tariffs, there's a part of me that think that in the long term, this can have like a powerful benefit to each, not just the U.S., but every country involved. We don't see it now. I mean, right now, flat out, it hurts. Everything hurts right now. But I think, and this is just a thought of mine, long term, it's, just to pick on the U.S., it should encourage the U.S. to develop, produce, manufacture more of our own U.S. made, you know what I mean, and kind of, but for every country, obviously, but just to pick on the U.S., for us to say, hey, you want to know what? Now it's time for us to drive it back home, keep it home built, homemade, and put that stamp of U.S. made on it and all that good stuff.
Real quick, time check is 9:33. We got 27 minutes until the top of the hour at 10 o'clock, where we will be seeing the drop of the Yuto'S and both pairs of rare airs.
Mm-hmm.
So to piggyback off what we're talking about right now, I brought it up here. It says that Trump has announced 10% tariffs on imports from any country into the United States and even higher tariffs for the following 60 trading partners that have a high trade deficit with the U.S. In other words, when they're saying deficit with the U.S., in other words, that country basically is making way more money than we are from the trade that's going on. So here we go. We're not going to go through all 60, but right here you can see what the tariff percentage is and what the current trade deficit is. So with the European Union, we have a trade deficit of $235 billion. China, $295 billion. Japan, $68 billion. Vietnam, now that's important. This is part of the reason why Nike stock took a hit, because the tariff is for 46% with Vietnam. Now, I'm going to play a clip, a video here, because my man from Complex actually gives a pretty good breakdown. But one of the reasons why Nike actually started shipping from places like Vietnam is to avoid some of the tariff issues that were going on with China. And now it's creeped its way over into some of these other countries now where they are producing some of the shoes. You can see on here, based on this list, besides Cambodia, which I have no idea why they hit Cambodia with a 49% tariff.
Well, that's because of the Cambodian breast milk from the Dave Chappelle show. That's some good stuff.
Yo.
The milk's gone bad.
Hey, I want to say something too. You guys should look up. Where we really get our rubber from.
Wait, that what do you mean by that?
I normally got it from the 7-Eleven in high school.
Damn. Yo. Those are your prophylactics. Yo. Okay, those are your prophylactics.
My bad. I'm sorry. Wrong rubber.
Yo. Hey, Tyler. I want to answer this question real quick. Or actually, I agree with it. Tyler made a statement. He said these tariffs won't be attached long term is the thing, and I actually agree with that. I think Trump is playing hardball, and he can be kind of set in his ways. So I think he's just kind of going along with the flow right now because he don't want to. If he wouldn't have imposed these tariffs on April 2nd, it kind of would have showed weakness. So he's definitely sticking with it right now. But I agree with that. I don't know how long this is going to be around, but he had to do it. To be a leader and be a man of your word is very important. Whether the decision is good or bad, but just to stand on your word is actually very important in leadership.
And I want to throw this out here as well. And again, this was concerning to me back in October. It's concerning to me now. It's going to be concerning to me in the next several months to come, because you have to think about it, right? If you're imposing tariffs of this high percentage on a country like China, I think people really need to understand first and foremost what the dynamics is between the U.S. and China relationship, right? Although it's very strained, but also on top of this, you have to understand that China is deeply rooted within our country, okay? They own a majority of the seaports within this country, and a lot of people don't realize that. They own, I think it's roughly about 80% of our seaports are owned by foreign trade business interests, okay? And China is very heavily in the majority of that mix. We owe China right now, the country of the United States of America, upwards over $750 trillion, okay, with a T. So their business interests at stake here that are playing out very heavily behind the scenes. So to whoever made that point, Mr. Think earlier, this is not going to last. This is not meant to sustain, okay? This is a pissing contest at a political scale at the end of the day, if nothing else, right? However, but we need to watch this relationship. I'm not talking about, I know we have Mexico and Canada in the mix. We have a few other countries in the mix, but we definitely need to be focused on China right now for the next year or year or so to come, because this is going to have economic ripple effects, not only that we can see, but that will happen behind the closed doors, and that will come in the form of the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones, okay, which
So,
Mr. will talk about a little bit later.
So based on this information here, as of December of last year, China has held $759 billion in U.S. Treasury securities, representing a significant portion of the U.S. debt. But apparently, Japan is the largest foreign holder of U.S. debt with over $1 trillion, followed by China and the United Kingdom.
It used to be Japan. That's actually outdated information.
Is it outdated now?
That's absolutely outdated, because Trump has had very close relationships and ties with foreign investors in Japan, and they've helped him actually pay down that debt. So that debt has actually been, it's crazy to say this, that debt has actually been transferred from country to country, from individual to investor group. Because I can't remember the name of the group that owns that title essentially right now, but they're the equivalent of BlackRock in Japan.
Okay.
And Trump has had when he first took over this second term, he actually had this gentleman, and I'll look his name up and give it to you so you have more context, come to the White House multiple times and hold press conferences on the amount of money that he has loaned Trump to offset those costs that the U.S. once owed to Japan. So now China takes over that number one spot. Actually, let me look it up now.
Here's the other thing people got to understand too, when it comes to the sneakers, like what's initially out there that's already been manufactured and pretty much already in the States, because you got to think, like granted, we got those Yuto'S, like just for an example, releasing today. For those of y'all that hit on them, when you go to look at the manufacturing date, you'll see in there that these were made months ago. It's just that they're now releasing. So technically, they've already been imported into the country, and Nike just has them. But it's the stuff that is maybe a year or so out from now that will really see a hike in pricing and importing with the tariffs going on.
And my bad.
Mr. Think, maybe you know the answer to this. What is the average time now across all brands that a car sits on the lot? Do you know that answer?
Man, I do not, but that's a good question.
Because that's also important too, is there's so they have this breakdown. I know it's like by model. Like when they talk about how successful or unsuccessful the sale of certain car models are, they have a breakdown as to basically the time period it takes for that car to eventually be bought after it's been sitting on the lot. There is a national average number. Let me see if I can even find it. Let's see here. National average time for
20 minutes to matcha drop. Yuto matcha, 20 minutes.
Hey, Perp, Jay, are you guys going for anything this morning, the Yuto'S?
Yeah, I'm going for them.
You going for Yuto'S?
Yeah. Honestly, bro, I don't like the Yuto'S. Honestly, I don't like it. I told Perp I'm not, but if I do it, I'm just doing it for fun. But honestly, I'm not a fan of the kick.
You don't like them because they're green.
To me, the first one is way better. This Yuto is, I'm not impressed.
No. I'm passing on it for hate to lose. I'm going for a size 13 for him. So, but yeah, I'm passing on it personally too. But I'm gonna try for somebody else.
And DJ, I'll answer your question a little bit.
Mr. Think, I just dropped. For everybody, I just dropped in the chat.
I saw it.
A great article to read up on Masayoshi Son. He's the head of one of actually the biggest investor group in Japan, and he's the one that's been doing a lot of these wheeling and dealing under the table type of meetings with the Trump administration.
I'm gonna pick that out. Thanks.
It's a raffle, Jay. It's a raffle.
All right, so across all brands, it says here, based on the Mercer Capital reports, that the average time a new vehicle sits on a dealer's lot is around 23 days, according to JD Power LMC Automotive Reports. Other sources mention a range of 23 to 28 days. Now, you got to understand when we're talking about that number, this is across all car models here within the United States. So, you're talking your Honda Civic all the way up through your, like, whatever that the newest Ferrari is, basically. It's the average of all vehicles. There's even more granular breakdowns, like I told you, per brand and per model of vehicle. And you'd be surprised some of the cars that end up sitting on the lot for like 2-3 months before they finally actually start to move. And a lot of times there's a lot of factors as to whether or not people like them. One, the pricing on the car. Two, and word of mouth has a lot to do with what happens to these vehicles, because for the early adopters of some of the new vehicles that come out, when they start having a ton of issues with them, that news starts to spread like wildfire. And then you got people who start to avoid going after those cars because they've heard that there's so many issues with them. And then eventually down the line, the manufacturer goes, okay, well, maybe we need to issue some recall notices out here and fix some of these issues that people are having. I don't know if you guys recall this. I believe it was the Toyota. What was that main Toyota hybrid that they had? They had some issue where the accelerator pedal was getting stuck.
Yeah, I remember.
And it took them a while before they finally came around and decided to acknowledge the issue, one, because it was brought to their attention, but they didn't necessarily want to acknowledge it. And then when they finally did, then they issued a recall as to, what the fix would be for those owners of that model. But a lot of these brands out here, for whatever reason, they're slow sometimes to jump on an issue until it starts to hurt their pockets.
15 minutes. 15 minutes.
We got
15
15 minutes.
Prius,
It might have been the Prius. It might have been. Let's see. Dita Todd says Stellantis has been one of the most greedy car companies. They're still market. Yes. Yeah.
Don't
I watched
quote me
the whole
on this
thing on
exactly,
Stellantis.
but I like I said, I had to look it up, but I believe it's because of Stellantis is the reason why Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler is even alive. If it wasn't for Stellantis, they'd be bankrupt.
But
So all of our Hellcats
they're
and all of our
doing-
Jeep Cherokees and all that stuff, you got to thank Stellantis for that. Because if it weren't for them,
but I watched an article on it recently though, and apparently like some of the things they're doing is like killing the brand, bro.
oh, is
From
it?
the inside out?
Is it?
Yeah. I'll have to refine it and send
Yeah.
it. over to
I'm
you,
not
but
saying they're not,
Yeah.
but I do believe they're the reason why that brand,
that's
those
correct.
manufacturers are even around.
And that does bring us, so Joshua Thayer, hopefully I pronounced that right. He brought up the Tesla. Tesla sales are down crazily, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that your guy Elon Musk is with the whole Doge thing.
If I can explain Elon Musk, oh man, Elon is unconventional in all his ways. We got 14 minutes. Elon is unconventional in all his ways. Everything he does is non-traditional. And Elon has, what a lot of us know as FU money. So what that means is, he says what he wants, he does what he wants, and like people can't control him. So Elon has become like the whistleblower for America with this whole Doge thing. He's uncovering some stuff, and a lot of people are mad at him. And one way that we all know that you can attack somebody is financially. That's when you hit somebody's pockets that'll help influence you to not do what you're doing. And Elon's pockets are so deep, him losing billions of dollars, to him, it's a shoulder shrug. To us Tesla investors, it hurts. You know what I mean? And I am a Tesla investor. I invest, within the stock. But yeah, Elon is the whistleblower for America right now. I would honestly think he's like the most hated man on the planet at the moment.
So, Mr. Thing, question for you. Right, with such a dip in Tesla stocks right now, I mean, this is historic. When you look at
before you go with your question, at its peak, at its peak, it shows here. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Come on. At its peak, we were at $479.86 a share, and currently
I remember it hitting 488. It might not have
We
closed at
are-
488, but it did hit 488.
currently we're at 239.43. As you can see right there, 239.43 is what we're at in the past 6 months. So go ahead with your question. I wanted to come up with that fact. Go ahead.
You
bro.
know, that's good context to have. So, you know, stocks have peaks and valleys, right? But none have really had a historical political reference attached to it the way that Tesla stock does right now. Do you think anything's possible, but what are your thoughts around the rebound, right, for Tesla? You know, do they begin a rebranding, campaign, come the end of this year, or what are the politics that are attached to that? Do you think that they can rebound and get back to even a fraction of where they were before at their peak? That where your kicks just showed us.
Absolutely. One thing about history and the stock market is people tend to have amnesia. When it comes to time is all that it takes. Like just to kind of back that up. Just like how we have our presidential election every 4 years. For some reason, people, I don't know, 4 years seems to be a perfect time for amnesia because, people like to, I don't know, they forget about the past for some reason. So what's going to happen within this brand? Tesla is such an innovative company to where they have so much going on right now. In June, they're going to start releasing like their robotaxi service in Texas and also in California. But Tesla is such an innovative company. They got so much going on right now. When you zoom out a year, people are going to forget about all of this political crap that's happening now. But I do think that's going to happen after Elon shuts down Doge. Or like he has to get over this Doge thing and kind of put that aside, maybe even step down from it. Or he said he's not going to step down. So,
Trump
Doge is
said
gonna
he
have to
was going to
close.
be backing up from some of his duties.
Yeah, because the
associated with
Doge thing was only supposed to be temporary.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then
Yeah,
again,
the brand will bounce back. I mean, there's no doubt about. This is the best way I can explain it, which is crazy because somebody had even mentioned, somebody mentioned in the comment section about updates. And let me tell you something about Tesla updates. Not updates, recalls. A lot of their recalls are over-the-air updates. Like with a traditional car, whenever you have a recall, you got to take it to the dealership or whatever they do their thing. Man, with the Teslas, man, it's over the air.
software.
By the time you get in your
Yeah.
car and drive it the next time, the recall is done. I mean, like straight up.
That is,
But
when you
but
think
but
about
the
it, that is
company
kinda
the
dope.
company's doing great. The company's doing great, innovative, making great products, whole 9 yards. The stock is detached. Well, maybe it's this way, but the stock is detached from the company, the brand itself, and they're literally like attacking the brand. There's a reason why people are going out damaging Teslas and spray painting the dealerships and setting them on fire. I mean, that's all. That has nothing to do with Tesla brand. That's an attack directly onto Elon
listen,
Musk.
to your point, of course not, because once that vehicle's sold, that's not Tesla's problem that someone's Tesla got burnt up because they don't like Elon Musk. That becomes whoever bought that vehicle's problem now.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Right.
the
But
optics of the
that is
situation.
a direct attack,
Correct.
onto Elon. People are
Correct.
trying to prove a point.
The
You know what I mean?
the optics of the situation is that they obviously don't like the way Elon Musk is trying to do things. He had, for the most part, you got to understand too, like a lot of people don't even understand what Elon Musk was about when he got attached to what was going on with the Trump campaign. Like, Mr. Think, you and I were having this conversation the other day, when we talked about the fact that George Foreman passed away, right? And you said you spoke to people who were older than you, and when you brought it up, they were like, "Oh, the grilling
grill
machine guy, the grill guy,
The grill
like
guy.
they're older than you, and forget the fact that he was a boxer."
Yep.
So there's a
Heavyweight
lot of
champion,
people out
actually.
here that
Yeah.
move through this world and don't actually pay attention to a lot of stuff that's going on around them. So they know Tesla, but I guarantee you there's people out there that when you ask them like, "Oh, well, who owns Tesla?" they couldn't tell you it's Elon Musk. I'm telling you right now, there's people out there like that.
Oh yeah, no, for
Telling
sure,
you
for
out
sure.
there.
And you know, if someone was mad at Tim Cook, right? He's the CEO of Apple, right? If someone was mad at Tim Cook for whatever reason, I mean, don't come to my phone and throw it across the parking lot, you know what I mean, and destroy my iPhone because you mad at the CEO. But that's the type of hate he is receiving.
But
Like
that's
flat out.
what it's funny because that's what'll happen. Like they'll be mad at a company, and then the people will take to destroying the company's merchandise.
Right.
You know,
Right.
as a sign of protest.
Right.
You know, it's crazy, Mr. Thing. I was listening to what you were saying earlier. Those software updates are crazy, man. I listened. I literally dealt with something similar like a month ago. Like my third cylinder stopped firing, and so I pick up the phone, I call the manufacturer, and I'm like, hey, I need to bring it in, whatever, blah blah blah. They were like, no, seems like you need a software update. They ran the software update while I was on the phone. All of a sudden, my third cylinder, boom,
For a misfire?
for a misfire.
Yeah,
It's
that's dope.
software driven. It's
Yep.
What?
It's the software. Yeah.
yeah,
That's crazy.
In what
That's dope.
vehicle? Your G wagon.
yeah,
You see?
yep.
That's dope.
Software update.
See,
Boom.
that's different. That's different.
Yep.
Because usually, for those y'all who are not car inclined out there, most of the time when you have a quote unquote cylinder misfire, okay, it's either the spark plug or the coil, or some vehicles have like coil packs, and the older ones have like wires that run from the what is it, the distributor, I believe it is. Regardless, it's usually the spark plug and or the coil that's got something to do with a misfire. The fact that your computer was causing a misfire in the cylinder and you just needed an update pushed to it in order to get it firing again is wild information to me on a combustion engine. That's wild information.
Insane. A V8 at that.
That's wild information right now.
6 minutes, yo. I'm gonna have to transfer my camera over so I can use my phone and try to help cop these Yuto'S if possible.
There you go.
Who are you going for today, Mr. Think?
Yuto'S.
Hey, real quick, man. Let's go through this chat real quick. We can give some shout outs. We got in here. Pi Soulfly's in here. Let's see. Swift Bitness Gaming.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to you. DJ Tyler Radio's in here. Jason Corley. Joshua Thayer. Mike Honcho. Jay. Don Myers. What's good? Philly's in here. What's good? Who else we got up in here? I think I said Tyler. We got Mandy Pandy.
Hey, Mandy.
Is in here. Christian, what's good, man? Listen, there's a lot of y'all in here in the chat. We definitely appreciate y'all being a part of this. We got 5 minutes until the top of the hour here at 10 o'clock. Right now, the topic of discussion are these tariffs and how it's going to be affecting a lot of the things that we look to purchase and how we move here in the country beyond sneakers. And for those y'all who are new, or for those y'all who have been around, I'm sure you guys recognize right now there's way more intelligence here on this panel than just what's happening in the sneaker world. We are well-rounded on here, man. Well-rounded.
Go hype.
So definitely appreciate y'all being a part of this conversation. Definitely going to look to get to some of these comments here because you guys got some decent ones. Let's see. P.I. Sofa says, love this conversation. It's for the nature sneakerhead. Other channels don't talk about this stuff or even care. Well, listen, to be honest with you, we don't know what the other sneaker channels necessarily do or don't do, but we'll tell you it just comes down to research. That's just really what it comes down to. It comes down to research. But we appreciate the compliment on that. Yeah, man. We definitely try to keep things well-rounded. Even though the escapist sneakers, we definitely try to keep things well-rounded around here. Let's see. People trading in their Teslas for a Volkswagen is crazy work. I mean, it's interesting because there is a segment of people out there who were going electric to save the planet. But now, in order to get back at Elon Musk, they're going to get rid of their Tesla and take on, for the most part, I've seen a lot of people go into a combustion engine vehicle from what I've been seeing a lot of there on social media. Now, granted, other brands out here, they have made investments into electric cars, but Tesla just seems to be the cream of the crop when it comes to electric. But I find it interesting though what people are out here doing, man. What are y'all thoughts on that? Go ahead, Jay.
Listen, when you said that, I get what you're saying, but I definitely beyond disagree. What helps out with Teslas because Teslas cost. But what the crazy thing is, if you look at Lucid Motors, now when they first originally came out, you're talking about 150, $200,000 for a luxury vehicle on their first year, which to me was stupid. But when you could go ahead and get a 4 to a 500-mile range, and I think now they got a 600-mile range, but their pricing went down because, as they say, new technology is expensive, which is dumb to me. But old technology, once it gets better, it gets cheaper. So, with that being said, I get you, but you got to think about the pricing aspect. But when it comes to Lucid Motors, they're the ones who really like smacking people out the box when it comes to long range. So, but I get what you're saying. For me personally, I just still don't think we have the infrastructure when it comes to electric vehicles. I'm for it, but at the
100%.
same time, it's not really necessarily that environmental friendly to build. How much digging they have to do to build to
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead
those batteries for
produce
the
these electric. So there is
what's
not
that?
really.
What's that precious metal called? What's it called that they dig for?
Yeah.
Lithium? Is it lithium?
I don't think it's lit. It's Let's look it up.
All right,
But
all
you
right,
know,
it's Yuto time.
Yep. 1 minute.
9:59. 9:59, y'all. We got Yuto'S and we have Rare Airs dropping here at the top of the hour. Chat. What should I go for? Panel, what should I go for? Yuto'S or Rare Airs?
ooh, but which rare air though?
Yuto'S
That's
or Rare Airs?
Hey, I'm gonna put it in this order: Rare Air 3, Rare Air Cinnabar
Rare Airs
2.
not releasing today. Rare Airs ain't releasing today. It is lithium. Shout out to DJ Tyler for that. It is
Shout out,
lithium.
shout out. Hold on, bro. Hold on.
But yes, facts. Listen, if y'all have not seen the dig sites in Africa for that lithium,
It says today's drops is on here, bro.
no, sir. It's the Rare Air ones, the women's, the men's, and then the Yuto SBs. You know what? Let's see.
That's why. That's what I no. Oh,
You said Rare
I was
Air
putting it in
3s.
order. I was putting it in its order. Men's
said-
Rare Air is 3. Number 2 is the Cinnabar Rare Air, and the number 1 would be the Yuto's. Even though I think the Yuto's are not attractive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, huh?
Man, stop going from bottom up, bro.
Hey,
whoa,
hey,
pause.
that's my
Pause.
thing, bro. That's my thing, bro.
Very pausable moment right now.
Who going
That's
for the
my
Yuto
thing, bro.
shirt?
I like
Who
to
going
start
for the
low
Yuto
and
shirt?
then go high.
Who going for that Yuto shirt though?
DJ Tyler Radio's going for the Yuto, he said.
The only reason I want the shirt is if I cop the shoes though.
So, but hey, chat. Good luck to everybody, man. Let us know what y'all going for real.
Yo, my camera's off because I'm using my phone to
Yeah,
try
it's
to
all
cop.
good.
But
DJ said Black History SBs and Yuto's are the best SBs this year. Yeah, hey DJ, you've been really asking about those Black History SBs for quite a bit of time, bro. You've been absolutely been talking about that particular silhouette for a grip.
Man, look, I'm upset Nike ain't dropping them joints until this month. Like, how you gonna drop Black History shoes 2 months after Black History Month?
right.
Well, I mean, it's typical. CBC.
I know it's typical. I know it is.
Maybe that's the.
I know it's typical.
No, maybe that's
Listen, we knew what type of time Nike was on when they was dropping them Fear 3s with them perfect Halloween colors in November.
Hey, Jay said I ain't going for nothing today. He said, man, spent out the month already. Hey, I get you, bro.
Hey, was it PI Soulfly said the same thing. Now, you know what? That's a good thing to really talk about right now, like consumer sprawl. Like how many people are tapped out right now?
Man, look.
You know?
Man, look, like you said, them prices about to go up. They better start finding some money and get this stuff walk. Listen. Do you know that Nigel, I just looked yesterday, them Nigel SB4s are at $570 in a size 12 now on StockX.
No way. Are
$570, bro.
Man, I might as well
They just keep climbing. Like they on Mount Everest. That joint gonna be a $600 shoe in a little bit, bro.
You know what? Where your kicks and Perp and everybody on the chat and panel, Mr. Think. So I think if people right now are stopping or slowing down their spending, I don't think it's a bad idea to do it right now. And I know y'all gonna look at me like I'm crazy, but let me explain to you why. Because what happens is when you start pulling back on something, it takes time to get back to that lifestyle. It takes time to get used to that new lifestyle. But then once you are already in it, it becomes a habit. It becomes something that comes so normal. So just for example, right, if you're not used to saving $100 a month, I'm just throwing it out there, right? And now you're saving $100 a month. Well, now you don't have that $100 to do whatever you're used to doing with. So now it's kind of like, I have to change my lifestyle. And it's not a bad idea to start early. It's not a bad idea, but I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with you, but it's not a bad idea to start scaling back a little bit. And if sneakers start hitting an average of 250 with the terrorist, I'm saying an average. Oh, it's gonna be trouble. It's gonna be trouble.
Listen. When I seen them tariffs for Vietnam, I said, "Oh, what did I say in the chat?" I said, "Oh, sneaker game over." I said it's over, bro.
Yeah. Fact.
Oh, it's over if it stay like that. So, hey, let us know what W's y'all get in the chat. We
Mr.
definitely
King.
listen. The lives are lucky. The lives are lucky. Definitely gonna have some W's in there. We definitely appreciate y'all rocking with us. April 5th here. First Saturday of April for the podcast here in 2025. Appreciate y'all being with us.
Oh, fact in the
Fact was good. Jay Muir said, got wifey those brick by bricks the other day. Nice. Up, SB Dunk, Yuto'S.
Mandy Pandy, congrats. She caught a dub.
She caught it. What she catch a dub on? What she go after?
Mandy Pandy. My wife caught a dub for Hate to Lose. I missed on both, but my wife caught a dub for Joel.
There we go.
Hey,
I sent it to the chat.
Oh, I told y'all I just went for him for fun to look.
Hey.
Oh. There we go.
I went for him for fun. I just did it.
There we go. Fun. Didn't get it. Yep. I caught it L2, bro.
Send it right on over, Jay.
I caught it. All right, let's see if the rare airs are sitting around. Oh, it looks like they are. Oh, wait. Hold up.
That's crazy.
Bro, go look at the rare airs right now, the blue ones. Go look on Sneakers app right now.
I'm on Sneakers app right now, bro.
All that's left is 16, 17, and 18 in the rare air ones.
Yo, the Yuto'S still got a 10.5 sitting there. 10.5, 10, 9.5.
Yep.
Damn, them rare air ones is gone. Everybody seen that the rubberway black for that swoosh and said, oh, y'all needs them now. Damn.
Hey, what's up with these center bars? Oh, wow.
What the center bars do? They going too?
No, bro. They are sitting.
Oh, center bars are sitting. Listen, center bars needed to come in extended sizing. That's where they messed up, in my opinion.
But listen, I agree with you. But also, the center bar to me is the better pair.
That's why I'm saying they should have came in extended size. I would have got them. I wanted the center bars over the other pair.
They're a better pair.
Yeah, man.
Listen, and here's the thing. Those red airs were going for under retail on the secondary market because that red Nike swoosh is on there, which is dope. Now everybody want it. It's the one small hidden detail that can change everything.
Hey, nobody said I don't even have Sneakers app no more. I deleted that shit.
Hey, I bet you if he reinstalled it, he'd probably get a dub at some point too.
I swear my account's cooked, man. I was like, I can't get on shit.
Let me refresh mine because it looked like the red airs are sitting on my side.
Bro, refresh yours because my shit said they had them all blacked out except for. Let me see.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I'm just like.
Wait.
Hold on.
Oh, okay, I had it reversed. Why is it? Hold on a second. No, I had it reversed, bro. My bad. 16, 17, and 18 is a pairs that are gone.
Okay, I was like,
my bad. But see, you know what? I got my joint in. Man, what the hell? My joint in dark mode, so I was getting thrown off by what was available and what was not.
Full size run. Jeez.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of ghost watchers and sneakers out this morning.
Man, it's all good. It's all good.
So let's do an analysis really quickly. What are the Yuto'S going for resale right now?
Nothing.
I don't know. Somebody look that up.
Yeah, I got it.
He said pause.
Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that?
Oh, I'm looking up right now.
I have the.
I ain't going for nothing.
Somebody in the chat earlier said below 200.
Yeah, size 11, 200, size 10 and a half, 198, size 10, 193, size 11 and a half, 200, size 12, 197, size 9 and a half, 200, size 9, 182. So, yeah.
Sugar booger.
Let's see what we got here.
Trump just announced new tariffs that are serious bad news for your favorite sneaker brands.
Y'all can
The
hear
tariff
it?
hikes will affect pretty much all the Asian countries where
Y'all
most
can
of the
hear it?
footwear brands make most of their sneakers. Tariffs are an extra charge placed on imported goods that come from other countries, and Trump's new ones are already hurting big players like Nike and Adidas. Nike said in an SEC filing last year that factories made roughly 50% of its footwear in Vietnam, 27% in Indonesia, and 18% in China. All those countries are getting reciprocal tariffs. 46% for Vietnam, 32% for Indonesia, and 34% for China. Brands like Nike have worked for a long time to shift away from China to avoid these kind of tariffs, only to get hit with a whole new set of duties in
that's what I
other
was saying
countries.
earlier.
Basically, importing all those goods into the US would cost Nike way more with new tariffs, which could mean eventual higher prices for consumers because someone has to absorb the cost. Nike shares took a beating after Trump announced the tariffs, dropping around 13% to their lowest point since November 2017. Adidas is going through the same thing. Last year, Adidas made 39% of its footwear in Vietnam, 32% in Indonesia, and 14% in China. All those goods will be more expensive with these tariffs. Adidas stocks took a hit of 11%, Puma is down 11%, and even JD Sports went down 8%. You know who isn't hurting as much though? New Balance. New Balance isn't a publicly
Jay's
traded
favorite.
company, so there aren't clear signals on the effect of these tariffs, but it's one of the few big footwear brands that actually makes or assembles products here in the US, meaning a chunk of its business will be isolated from the Trump trade wars. Nike didn't respond to a request for comment on the new tariffs from Complex. Same for Adidas, although an Adi spokesperson said they were evaluating the tariff decision and continuing to quote-unquote monitor the evolving situation. We don't know how all this is going to play out just yet, and it could blow over, but if you spend money with Nike or Adidas, it's a situation you'll want to monitor too.
Yo, yo, Lewis, hold on a second.
What's up?
Can you replay that and then pause it?
Whoa.
Shit.
Hey Jay, I'm a size 11, bro.
Yeah, let me get back to it here in a minute.
Then Tyrell said Jay couldn't resist another green sneaker.
Oh, I saw that. Oh, by the
I
way,
did it for fun.
for those of y'all who like to play the lottery, it's gonna be $5 a line now instead of that $2 a line. I think starting today. I think it's starting today. It goes.
Well, your kids don't be saying that. Don't you say that.
So basically, it starts out at 50 million and up. That's crazy.
They said they wanted more billion-dollar jackpots.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't need $1 billion. Just give me a good $5 million, and I'm out the door. Just give me $5 million. I'm not greedy.
Nike said in an SEC filing last year that factories made roughly 50% of its footwear in Vietnam, 27% in Indonesia, and 18% in China. All those countries are getting reciprocal tariffs. 46% for Vietnam, 32% for Indonesia, and 34% for China.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I wanted to know, why is his eyebrows attached to his sideburns? That's what I want to know.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo. Hold up.
Why is his eyebrows attached to his sideburns?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
They said that boy got an eye burn unit.
Yo.
Bro. All right, listen.
Oh,
I
God.
thought you wanted me to go back because you had
Something important to say.
seriously, right?
Oh God.
This man was watching the whole time talking about what's up with my man eyebrows, bro.
Fascinated. Mr. Dick, did you hear one word he said? Were you just fascinated by the eye burn unit?
Man.
Oh God.
Mind you, Mr. thinks like no face, no case on his statement right now, bro.
Oh God.
They were like, prove it was me. Prove my face is there that I said that shit about him.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
I like that hat you got on, by the way.
Hey, Jason C. Yes, AD is my favorite player for sure, bro. The
Man.
growl.
Man. Listen, what he was saying, so we've had this discussion on here about what it would cost if Nike moved any bit of their manufacturing into the US. Now, the assembly part is interesting because there's only a percentage of shoes that actually get assembled here in the US for New Balance. Most of them, though, to be honest with you, are not, or they're basically not. You know what I'm saying? You got to think of it from this perspective. Minimum wage in the United States is, what is it now? What's minimum wage?
Like 15? I don't know.
I want to
15?
say it's like
States 1 and
15.
15.
Like 15, bro.
I want to say it's supposed to be 15. At least in Colorado, 15
Hold
is minimum
what
wage.
is the U.S.
15.
minimum wage? What is that, John? $7.25 an hour.
What?
When did it go to 15?
In Colorado, it's 15. Maybe it's different in
Very
different
state
states.
to
It's
state, though.
different states.
Yeah,
But you want the
Because
average.
Georgia's still $7.25.
that is out of
Florida's
control,
13
fam.
an hour. Yeah. This is as of January 1st. So different states have different levels as far as what their minimum wage is. Real quick. Hold up. Yeah, see? Different states
That's true.
have different minimum wages. Okay. But the national average, from my understanding, is supposed to be like $7.25 or some nonsense. Anyways,
Yo, I'm not even gonna lie.
okay?
That's embarrassing, man. That is embarrassing.
But hold on a second. So bear with me here on this, okay? So let's just, like, we saw a graphic out there that said it costs Nike, I think, $15 to put together a Jordan 1 sneaker. So to make a Jordan 1, it costs them $15. Now, you figure $15 is basically 2 hours worth of minimum wage pay, right? At that $7.25 an hour, you know, plus or minus a few cents. But, you know, you're looking at they're working in a factory, and in the U.S., the factories have to meet certain standards for the ventilation. These other countries do not have to follow. You're also talking about the fact that, you know, at the maximum, unless they go to pay overtime, which we know for overtime for the most part is time and a half, right? It's usually how they work it. Now, if you work in a different industry, like Tyler, don't come at me with what y'all company do. That's different, okay? Y'all union. But even then, imagine they try to bring union work into a Nike factory here in the U.S., bro. That costs, healthcare, all that stuff, is going to be added into the cost of the sneaker. So you paying $180 now for Jordan 1s. You talking about adding all that in there? You listen, tariffs aside, you looking at $250.
But we already know, and we talked about this, certain, not all, but there's a nice amount of New Balance that's produced here.
Well, we just showed that. We just talked about that.
Right, we talked about that. And I've made this statement before, and I said, in my opinion, that need to bring a factory here. I agree with you. I understand what you're saying in terms of cost, healthcare. I get all of that. But let me say this. Oregon, Beaverton, Oregon, is where what? Is where they create the sneaker. It's produced across the pond. So if you're going to go ahead and create something, produce it here. I'm not saying everything has to be produced here, but come on now. Let's be honest. Apple is created here, produced across yonder. Make it make sense. We're talking about it, but make it make sense. Chevrolet, Chevy, created here, but parts coming from across yonders. Stop playing with me, man. Quit playing with me.
So it says here, Nike's production costs for shoes, even if made in the U.S., are likely to be significantly higher than those in countries with lower labor and material costs, potentially reaching $18 to $25 per pair. Now, it does say, it says, while U.S. sourced materials might be of higher quality, they can also be more expensive, impacting the overall costs. But one thing I wanted to point out here, let's see, what did it say? It says here that in the case of a textile and leather sneaker, the U.S. government requires an import duty of 20% of the FOB price. What's the FOB price? Did you hear what I said?
No, what's up? I'm sorry, I'm sending out a message. What was
It
the question?
says here, in the case of textile and leather sneaker, the U.S. government requires an import duty of 20% of the FOB price. What is FOB price?
Free on board.
Which means what?
It's the seller's responsibility to ship those goods out, so they take full liability for whatever they send out.
Okay.
But to a certain extent, let me back it up. So if I'm a big seller overseas and I'm sending textiles over to another country, then I take full responsibility for that merchandise as it leaves my factory to be boarded onto the vessel to be shipped overseas. Once that vessel leaves port, it's no longer my liability. It becomes that receiver's responsibility and liability for those goods or textiles. So that's what FOB is, basically.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, I think just overall, listen, I wonder, even with the tariffs, if it would still be more expensive to try to even just build the Nikes here, Nikes and Jordans here in the U.S. I wonder if it really would be.
So if Jordan 4s went up to like $300, would people still buy them? That'd be the question.
Okay, Jay, for retail, would you pay for retail $300 on a pair of white cement 4s? Your all-time favorite. For retail.
I would, as long as the quality is there. But let's make a pause for a quick second. And I know where you're going with this. I would personally, but at the same time, I don't think every kick is worth that price point. I don't feel like that. And I'll leave it at that because I know you probably got more to say. So let me.
But no. This is a discussion because this has to be had because listen. When we talk about, because this is a conversation that really needs to be had when it comes to these sneakers. We always have this conversation of quality, right? Would you agree or disagree that pretty much all these damn sneakers are put together by hand using machines?
I agree.
Okay. So based on that fact, you're never going to have 100% no issues with these shoes since they are assembled by hand. Like, listen, these videos you guys come across on IG and stuff, and yeah, granted, it be the fake factories on how they making shoes and stuff like that. Everyone goes, oh, those are the fakes being made. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, these ain't made no damn different. They ain't put together. No, even the shoe surgeon, when you see him put together shoes, guess what? is most of that stitching and all that stuff you see, it's actual workers having to do certain things to these sneakers in order to make them. So you're going to have those issues. Now, when it comes to the leather quality, how do you perceive good leather quality?
So if we're gonna talk about leather quality, then we're gonna talk about leather that is thick and that is durable. Okay.
Okay. Now hold on. So from your perspective, high quality leather is thick and durable. Pause. Okay. Now I'm not trying to make jokes. I'm really going somewhere with this. Okay. Superfly, what's good with you, bro?
Superfly.
For example, the Midnight Navy 4. It's going to be hard to see on camera, but if you look closely at the leather here, it's got tumbled leather. Now, for those of y'all who have been a part of these chats before, you know the tumbling on the leather is actually done by a chemical, because the chemical can remove the tumbledness. That being said, everyone's holier than thou Jordan 1 is that V1 version of the shattered backboards because of how plush and soft that leather is, but that leather is also very thin. But everyone screams about the great quality that is the shattered backboards in that V1. So from that standpoint, if you saw, for example, the Jordan 1s, if they came with that quote unquote shattered backboard type of leather, you perceive that to be the high quality, or you feel like you'd be getting gypped at that point with a $250 price point on a Jordan 1.
Getting gypped in the long run anyway, because there's no such thing as tumbled leather. It's all synthetic. Like, leather does not come tumbled. You know what I mean? So it's still a fabrication process in there to make and manufacture this shoe. So what's really the true definition of premium at this point? What premium is in real life is not what we consider premium from the sneaker perspective, if that makes sense. So it's all about interpretation, semantics.
I agree with that, Perp.
So again, I'm really just trying to be devil's advocate out here because Jay brings up a point, right? The quality. You hear a lot of sneakerheads talk about the quality of leather, the quality of the build of a shoe. Now, granted, most of us would agree when we think about like some of the shoes we get from Alma Maniere. Would you all agree or disagree? It's probably some of the top quality sneakers that we see.
No argument there.
Okay. But it's interesting how we can get a Jordan 3, albeit 3 different colorways. They're technically using the same leather, but yet it'll be called into question the quality of the shoe. Like, how?
Where your kicks?
Go ahead.
That's called perception and deception, bro.
Okay.
So the perception aspect is that branding, right? This brand is associated with having higher quality. So some people will sit here and say, "Oh, because this is this sneaker, hey, this is high quality because of this name, and because this is just regular, is just regular." And so, and everybody, besides the materials, I also want to say this: quality also means build. I want to put that out there because when I say quality, that just does not mean materials. That means build. Okay. So let me start being a little bit more. Let me have some more clarity and concise when I speak to you guys, because that build, it means everything.
Okay, go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we can put together the highest quality materials, chat, but the build could be absolutely studunculously trash. So I want to put that out there, you know, and not to like jump back and forth, but I have to do this a little bit because at some point in time when we talk about, well, building a Nike factory here, you know, prices are going to go up. New Balance is doing it. Nike is worth more than New Balance. I'm not saying we have to have 50 million workers, but come on, man. Stop playing with me. I get passionate about this because there's other things that can be done to assist us, to help ourselves out. But I can't sit here and say, hey, I'm going to create a sneaker, but I'm going to take it over there. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
It
so
does.
when we're talking about pricing, but see, when we talk about pricing is done because of someone or a major entity made it that way. Not because it's deserving to be that way. You live in the same house or the same condo, 700-foot square apartment, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. You pay $350 for that same apartment. 2 years later, now you're paying $500. It's the same damn size. Play with yourself. Don't play with me.
Oh, pause.
I gotta be honest with you, bro.
Use some lube at least.
Damn.
I gotta be honest with you, bro.
All right, so
yes, I moved to the side of the housing market, but make it make sense. It's the same exact size. It ain't changed in the dynamics, but we gotta go up. Make it make sense.
So Jay,
I digress.
Jay, what you're saying, you know, is extremely logical. Comcast right now, I have a very close friend of mine. I consider him a brother of mine. He's a Comcast employee, has been for 10 plus years. They are doing massive layoffs, and they're sending these jobs to India. Just to put it into perspective, for every U.S. salary, they could hire 4 employees in India for every 1 person who's here in the States. So, you know, in theory, even though it sucks for people losing their jobs here in the States, I can totally understand from a business aspect on why they're doing it. Like literally why. So, you know, for Nike to create their, you know, design and, you know, is completely different than the, you know, the manufacturing process, because it's a business, you know, and they're, you know, they're trying to capture as much profit as possible. We kind of talked about Perk mentioned this earlier, and I tried to talk about it. I lost my train of thought regarding the topic, but whenever there's overhead, I do, you know, I have a moving business. I do it all the time. I'm not affected directly. I mean, I am, but I'm not. I'm not affected directly in the moving business regarding my moving blankets, my dollies, my shrink wrap, my tape, the diesel fuel that I put inside my truck, any tolls that, you know, when I take the expressway. If anything goes up on me, I push all of that expense to my customer, bro. I pass it down to the consumer, and that's what happens to everybody. Like I'm not gonna eat up my profits. I'm just gonna charge more. That's what I'm gonna do. It costs me more. It's gonna cost you more. You know, my moving pads, my moving blankets, they come from China. I know exactly where they come from. So the moment they increase, you know, the cost of a dozen of pads, I'm going to charge more per hour. Right now, I charge like $170 an hour, you know, for 2 men in a truck, you know, when it comes to moving. When my expense goes up, my customer's expense goes up. Instead of 170, I'll charge 175 or 180 an hour. I'm making up that cost. You know, I'm not losing any profit, bro. I'm passing it down to the consumer, and the consumer's they're gonna use my services. They're gonna pay for it. That's it. They're gonna pay. You know, like I'm not eating my profits up, and the same thing happens to us. We're gonna pay for it. Now, when it comes to sneakers, you know, and when it comes to car sales, you know, and stuff like that, you don't necessarily have to buy sneakers. You don't have to buy another car. So, matter of fact, historically speaking, during like recessions, auto sales are like one of the first things to drop, man. People aren't making these big purchases. People aren't buying houses. They ain't buying cars, which is typically the 2 largest purchases that your average person making in their entire life. People ain't gonna be buying no cars. You know, them car sales are gonna be. You know, to Lewis's point, you said the average car is sitting 23 days. Watch that number increase.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's right. And if y'all recall, there was a mad dash on used cars there for a minute too. They was going up in price for a little bit. I mean, listen, we're gonna see how this all plays out. I mean, all right. At the end of the day, what you all don't realize, and what I didn't realize to the extent that it is that the U.S. is basically, we've been handed out more money than we actually receive. Now, we're supposed to be the richest country, quote unquote, in the world, but when it comes to trade, there's a lot of money going out of this country faster than it's coming in. Pause. Okay. One of the hugest ones is with China. You know, for years we've been sending them the raw materials, and they've been sending back finished product that we buy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, real quick, shout out to y'all in the chat who been listening in. Please double tap that like button. If you are new here, subscribe up to the channels, J Elevate, Mr. Think I'm Possible, myself, Warrior Kicks 26, and of course, we gotta show love to the One Pair at a Time podcast channel, rocking with y'all every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern and 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you have those notification bells turned on as well, so you can be notified every time we go live. Let's see here. Any comments I want to get through yet before we go on to the next topic? And I'm gonna let y'all rock if you got some other ones. Sig, shout out to you, bro. Said I got my first sneakers W of the year.
Yes, sir.
What shoe was it? Let us know what shoe it was, bro. Congratulations to you, though. I saw some other W's up in here.
Major
P.I.
congrats.
Soulfly said, facts. It's always about the bottom line. There are a few companies that get big that the quality doesn't suffer.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, man. Like if you look at, like I said, we look at New Balance, bro. Look what New Balance has done. The market has opened up for them, and they have given us quality. Right? Prices has went up a little bit. I mean, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's competition. And again, man. And I agree with you, Mr. Think. Like everything you said, all facts, bro. It was just the fact that I'm just going back to the fact that there's a major corporation who says, hey, you know, we're just going to go up on price. We're just going to go up. Listen, I the business side, I get it. But, you know, and like you said, I'm thinking on the logical aspect. It's just like, man, make it make sense.
AOJ, you're spot on. A lot of times whenever I look at stuff like this, I understand it. That don't necessarily mean I agree with it, but I do have the understanding. So, you know, there are times when I'm like, yo, I understand what you're doing. I disagree with it, but I get it. I do understand it. So.
Shout out to Jay Mural, said I got a W today by waiting for Rare Air to hit outlets. Facts.
Congrats.
Yo, congrats, man. I'm looking forward to my my Rare Air. I wish I had my camera working because even the Rare Air on the print, it's all like distressed and cracked up.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
that's very true.
I got my shirt on.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Any thoughts before we move on here to what's probably going to be a highly controversial topic that we definitely got to talk about here? Mr. Think, you got a couple minutes for you got to rock?
Yeah, I got like another 10 minutes. I put that in the chat.
Right,
I got a small job.
When we go to this next subject, I want Mr. Think's thoughts first, so we can, you know, so he can have his time to talk about this. I'm sure some of y'all have seen the news panel. You probably know what it is I'm about to get at here, but
Oh yeah.
StockX is letting select sellers ship directly to buyers. Let me read a little bit of this real quick. It says StockX is launching a new program on Thursday. That will allow a small number of pre-selected verified sellers to ship the items they sell straight to their buyers, allowing for quicker order delivery times. Items sold by verified sellers via StockX Express ship option won't be routed through the resale platform's authentication centers. Instead, they'll go straight from seller to buyer. We have more than 35 million people on the platform every month. StockX CEO Greg Schwartz tells Complex, and what we find is that they want product fast. They want access to product, and that's what they're optimizing for. So, Mr. Think, since you got a roll, and real quick, Superfly, I do not believe Rare Air sold out, but I think the Yuto'S did. Yuto'S sold out, I think. Mr. Think, what are your thoughts on the direct to seller? Direct to buyer from seller shipping now.
Yeah, I think this is going to be disastrous. One word, it's going to be a disaster. This will disastrous. This will
word of the day.
Open the door for fakes. And I mean, like, when I say open the door for fakes, this will completely open the door for fakes, because it really comes down to who these air quote verified sellers are going to be. That's to me, I think that's the most important part. So, like, I'm just going to use this as an example. I'm not saying this makes any sense, but if JD Sports was one of the verified sellers, then I would trust that brand. You know, I'm just using it as an example. But if the verified seller is a regular Joe Schmo, like one of us who just sell kicks, that's going to create a big issue, because I'm going to say, I sent you a real pair, and when you tell me that it's fake, I'm going to say, well, you must have swapped them out. That's all I'm going to say. There's going to be no verification as far as like, maybe they got swapped out, you know, during transit and during delivery. I don't know. I sent you a real pair of sneakers. I don't know what happened to those sneakers during transit, but this is going to be disastrous, bro. That's my take on it. Disastrous.
Okay.
Now, I will say, to your point, that apparently there is a multi-step process that StockX will put those verified sellers through in order for them to be verified as a seller that can ship directly to consumer. Let's see if I can find some information on it. But as I'm doing that, Jay, what are your thoughts?
You know what? I've never purchased off StockX. So for me, I'm curious to see what this really looks like, because like, is this StockX top sellers, and they're saying, hey, you know what, you have for the past 10 years, 5 years, whatever the case may be, your rating is 100%, no flaws whatsoever. So I'm curious to see what this looks like. For me personally, I tell everybody, you know, if you want to use that platform, hey, do what you do. But you need to really know what you're doing when you are purchasing a silhouette from a secondary market. You really need to know what you're doing. And what does that time frame looks like to say, hey, you know what? No, this sneaker ain't verified. Nope, it's trash. What's that timeline going to look like when you need to hit up StockX? How does that look? What does that look like? Now, if it doesn't work, you have to send it back to StockX. Now, StockX is going to do the verification on that silhouette. Very, very, very interesting questions. It seems like to me, StockX is just getting lazy. And someone also, I can't think who YouTube channel that was, but I watched someone in the chat, and I wish I took a picture of it, said something like really interesting. It's like they said something in reference to like what is StockX really doing? They're just getting lazy. And why is people still using the StockX platform when it comes to reselling? I've said this so many times. Purple Haze and I had such a debate. We still debate. We still fight about it. And we always will. But that's our thing, right? We understand that the StockX moves the market when it comes to sneakers. But because StockX has been so much in a negative light when it comes to like the aspect of the fakes with Nike, and people still use StockX as like the go-to. I don't use StockX as the go-to when it comes to resale. If I don't buy off the platform, why am I looking on the platform?
Because them prices are cheaper.
Right.
That's
Cheaper
why.
always
So
don't mean
hold on
better.
a second. So Jay, hold on a second. So when you go to the sneaker shows to buy shoes, right? You literally be looking up prices on GOAT, and for the most part, you see that they're higher than what the reseller got, because more than likely the reseller sitting there going off StockX prices. So you think you getting a deal?
I will test to this. I know the market. Purple will tell you. Purple, do I just walk? Do I go to any sneaker spot? Do I look on StockX? Thank you. I do. I negotiate prices because I know what's going on. I know what's going on. I do not look at StockX, bro. I don't. When I go to
So my
sneakers,
question, and I'm just asking you the question.
I know.
How do you know the market on a shoe when you don't use the platform the majority of the resellers use in order to sell their sneakers?
I go off the platform that I use. I use GOAT. And I can negotiate. I can negotiate if the shoe is $550 on GOAT and they say, hey, it's gonna be $560. I said, no, then I negotiate my price. Well, I want $540. I want $530 because I understand those hidden fees. I just don't use GOAT. Now, I been on GOAT and looked? Absolutely, I have with Perp.
Hey, yo, Jay said you are badgering the witness. He said objection.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo, objection, Your Honor, sustained.
But even
I just
Ohio,
don't, bro.
okay, so like Ohio
No.
said 1986, he goes eBay, okay? So when you on eBay, do you try to negotiate with the sellers on there? And if so, where are you getting your prices from to negotiate? Because a lot of times I go on eBay and some of these sellers they be out, they don't be updating their prices. You got to actually tell them like, hey, bro, this ain't the market no more on this shoe. You got to be willing to come down a little bit. But again, I'm just asking if the majority of the way it's running is that they look through what's going on with StockX. And granted, for those y'all who live here in the Florida area, a lot of times these sellers will take the StockX price and account for the fees that will occur in the shoe to try to set their price up too. That's another little tidbit. I don't know if it's like that outside of Florida, but I know for a fact they be doing that nonsense here in this state.
Hey, Lewis, do you know something I've seen? People
What's
want to
up?
make it to like their advantage. So if I want to buy your sneaker from you, I'm going to go to StockX and say, hey, StockX got these for $220. But if I was going to sell the sneaker to you, I'm going to say GOAT got these for $260.
Comprehend.
But again, a lot of the how many sellers do you really think you came across to be like, okay, yeah, but go selling this at this price?
Out here, I've seen people do that. They'll use GOAT to sell
Really?
it to
Okay.
you, but to buy from you, they're using StockX.
Mm-hmm.
So to get your sneaker, I'm referring to StockX because it appears lower. Like to Jay's point, the fees and everything. After you calculate the fees, it's back up there. But if I want to buy your sneaker, I'm like, well, these are going for StockX right now for $250. But if
Now,
I was going
granted,
to sell you a sneaker, and I'm like, well, on GOAT, these are going for $285.
But Goat's got fees. They're better at hiding them in a sense. A lot of times when you go to check out from StockX or Goat, the prices are probably within sometimes $10 to $20.
Yep, Ken, spot on, bro. Exactly.
He said, I know people that use StockX to buy and Goat to sell.
Exactly.
So
now, why is that? But because the price is shown to be cheaper on StockX and higher on GOAT.
So listen, all of these platforms, have seen or heard issues with all of the platforms. Let's just be honest. When you are comfortable with a platform that has never given you an issue, that is why we go to that particular platform. I look at it like this, bro. Right. And I'm not saying you shouldn't buy on this platform. I'm not saying that at all. I do what I feel like really works for me and what makes me feel comfortable. I just refuse to buy a Corvette with a Volkswagen engine in it. I just refuse. So I go to what makes me happy. What makes me what constantly has given me proven time over time. That's it. It's about comfortability and how you perceive things. A lot of people love eBay, and nothing wrong with eBay, right? Like I tell you guys, listen, if you want faster shipping, you might not want to use Goat. You want to use Flight Club. And I'm telling you right now, Goat owns Flight Club. Flight Club owns Goat. But the shipping is faster. It's better. So it's all about your comfortability. And you got to remember, here in Florida, right? And this is just anywhere, right? When you pay an uptick in price for a sneaker, you have the ability to what? Negotiate. And if they don't want to negotiate, you have more than 100% right to walk away. But you got to understand that convenience is right there in your face. You don't have to wait 3 weeks for it to get verified, for it to get shipped. You don't have to wait. Or you know what? A seller canceled. It's right there in your face at the palm of your hands. You can touch this product right here and take it home with you today.
Hey, yo, fellas, I have to boogie. I've mentioned this before, so I kind of want to throw this back in the atmosphere because I'm guilty of this myself. And what my statement is going to be is it does come down to trust. I have never legit checked a pair of sneakers that I got from Foot Locker, JD Sports, Champs, Hibbets, none of that stuff. I've never legit checked a pair because I trust that it's coming from, this solid, reseller.
Source.
That's, so is it a possibility that I can have a fake pair of sneakers in my collection that I got the receipt for, that I went to the store directly and picked it up and say, no, these are real because I got them from JD Sports? I mean, that's going to be my answer, but how do I really, really know without checking them? That's my question. It's trust. It is trust. Because it's possible that I can have a pair of fakes and I don't even know it with a receipt in hand. It's possible.
Trust.
So real quick, right now on GOAT, a pair of Nigel Sylvester Jordan 4s, size 12, is $592. And I don't know if y'all seen this new feature GOAT has where you can go to checkout or add to cart. But let's see here. Oh damn, I got this fucking GOAT credit, so I can't even calculate this right.
That boy got that gold credit.
Yeah, I got GOAT credit in here. So it's messing with the whole out the door prices. So wait, 369. Hold on, 369 plus 237. 369.
Yes, she fine.
237. So 606 out the door. 606 and some change out the door on GOAT. Okay. Let's see here. Let me go to same pair of shoes. Size 12 on StockX, $564. What do y'all guess that out the door price is right now?
With all those hidden fees, I'm gonna make up some wild. I'm gonna say $598.
610. 610. So GOAT has StockX beat right now by like $4. $4. So that's what I'm saying. They're usually right around each other in terms of price is concerned. Now, going back to the article, okay, it does say here that StockX says it will enforce strict policies and standards for users in its verified seller program, including background checks, regular audits, and specific training on product listing guidelines. And selecting the first verified sellers, the company filter out users who didn't meet its standards of timely shipping and reliability. Now, someone in here said GOAT does the same thing. GOAT does not do the same thing. GOAT has consignment. where you can ship the pair into GOAT for them to hold on to, and then once it sells, they'll go ahead and send it where it needs to go. GOAT does not have a direct from seller to consumer shipping opportunity.
Correct.
So this thing right now is clearly a StockX feature. Now my question is this, right? Because, for example, on the Nigels with StockX, it does show that there is a price if you do the regular shipping, but then they have the little rocket ship drawn price for like an instant ship. Now the instant ship price is $669 in order to get the Nigel 4s with what's today? So today's the 5th. It said to get them within like the next 5 days, basically. Okay.
So no, I'm sorry where you kicked. So no hype. He said, hey, no GOAT does it, bro. Go look. Yes, they do.
Okay. So they have a direct. So you're telling me that I can go on GOAT right now, and there's a way that I can order a pair of shoes. Let's see here. So it says here they have instant new box. It says pre-verified and ready to ship. I believe that's coming directly from GOAT. That's your consignment. Because I see no other options here. There's new plus defects, new damaged box, there's instant ship, and then there's the regular ship, to where the person still has to send the shoes into GOAT. It says here, instant products are pre-verified and ready to ship to receive your items as soon as possible before 11 a.m. local time, Monday through Friday, excluding holidays.
All right, no hype. He said he sent it to me.
He said
small print.
Yeah, listen, if you got it, show it to me. You know, if you got it, show it to me. But I've never seen that. I've never seen that. So if they do have it, who's to say now through the GOAT platform you're not getting sent fakes if they have that? Listen. StockX's name is always in the news for a plethora of issues, but they are the largest secondary market platform. They just are. You know. So by that logic, yeah, I mean, there's people that are definitely going to be trying to get over through there. And even when you go to these sneaker shows, I mean, it's been shown time again, nobody's 1,000% perfect in legit checking sneakers. You think you are, but I'm telling you right now, you're not. And if you try to compare one pair to the next pair, and they coming from two different matter of fact, what was one of the things they said about the 85 highs when they originally were made? They had 5 different versions because they came from 5 different factories.
Height wise, yep, the height. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean the OGs?
The OGs. So build wise, it all depended on what factory you got the shoes from.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jay, did he hit you with anything yet? Showing direct from seller?
I've been looking. I'm waiting for him to hit me up on the IG. I'm waiting.
I mean, while you're doing that, I mean, also another factor here really taking into consideration with this whole StockX fiasco is, you know, the whole verified seller, right? I mean, we need to really kind of unpack this and what that really dictates or means, essentially. What are the criteria, right, for becoming a verified seller? And then more importantly, how does this not evolve into a pay-to-play type of scenario to where I'm not a verified seller, or maybe I'm a mom and pop shop, and I just go ahead and slide you some money on the side just to get that official verified seller icon next to me, right? But yet my business practices may be a little bit of shady. I may be doing a mix of real versus rep, or whatever the case may be. Go under the assumption, oh well, StockX, not saying us or anyone in the chat, but just some people are a bit more overtly trusting than we probably should be, right? So now we take it at a grain of salt. Oh, he's a verified seller, so I'm not going to legit check, or I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, or whatever the case may be. But meanwhile, I'm paying to play, and I'm selling all type of crazy shit out of my shop, right? What safety measures does StockX have to counteract scenarios like that? We won't know. We will never know at the end of the day, because if I read this correctly, and keep me honest here, Warrior Kicks, in a scenario like this, StockX kind of passes the buck as far as liability goes to the seller, and not them directly, as they did before when they were actually the middleman in verifying and legit checking.
Correct.
So,
but
whole
to that point, if GOAT, and apparently I found something here on Reddit that verifies what people have been saying here. Although this is a 2-year-old post, so hopefully this remains valid. Let's see here. It says here. So it says GOAT allows sellers to ship directly to buyers, so that bypasses authentication. This is from 2 years ago here on Reddit. Apparently this is a message someone got where it says, upon checking here on my end, I can see that this order has been shipped directly from the seller. Although this item is shipped directly from the seller, we fully stand by the authenticity of the product. Very few sellers are allowed the privilege of selling direct to buyers. Their products and status have been vetted to ensure quality and authenticity. So, okay, so basically, all right, and shout out to you guys for putting this on that information. So if that's the case, then GOAT's got the same issue, would they not? To where the seller could just send a fake.
Hey, so
now all StockX is doing is implementing something GOAT's already been doing. So why is StockX getting beat over the head for that and not GOAT?
Check our chat. I just sent out what No Hype sent me. No Hype 85.
Okay.
To go ahead. You got.
Well, I'm just saying. What my question is, why the hate for StockX implementing a program GOAT's already had for, at least we know, based on the Reddit article, 2 years. So how is it going to be a failure on StockX's part, and it hasn't been a failure on GOAT's part, when GOAT's had the program for at least 2 years that we know of? Because what's the difference?
Mm-hmm.
That's just my question. What's the difference?
Well, before I answer your question or an opinion, right? I want to tell everybody in the chat. So No Hype 85, he sent me the joint on IG. And it does state this item is pre-verified and ships directly from a selected partner with priority processing. All right. So shout out to you, No Hype 85. Wanted to put that out there. He definitely sent it to me. To answer your question, 80, where your kicks? I think it comes down to not only being the number one secondary market sneaker reseller, but what it also boils down to is when you have so much negative publicity, that's the difference. And not to say that GOAT have had their issues. Don't get me wrong. But you don't hear all the time about GOAT having major issues when it comes to like verification. Nothing is perfect, and you said it absolutely right. Nobody's 100% perfect when it comes to legit checking. But when someone or an entity, an organization is constantly out there saying, hey, it's so many fakes out here, right? What's going on with you? And listen, I truly believe that StockX does sell way more legit pairs, way more than they sell fake pairs. But when you're constantly in the spotlight for all the pairs you have verified, right? Maybe it could be that 5%, 3%, 10%. I don't know. That's the difference where you kicks. That's a major difference. And shout out to you, No Hype 85. Shout out to you, bro. I'm listen. Credit is credit where credit is due. For real. G Fish.
What up, G Fish?
He said because Foot Lockers partner with GOAT.
Foot Locker in bed with GOAT. Yeah. Foot Locker apparently owns GOAT and Flight Club. G Fish, it's boutiques and stores backdooring. Yeah, I mean, again, just not coming at nobody, just asking the question.
Yeah.
Both platforms now basically have the same program. But you got a point, with as large of a platform as StockX is, and mind you, most of why they're in the spotlight is still stemming from a case that started like 3 years ago, basically. They said, "Give you that L, then sell to you on GOAT." Hey, yo, man.
Y'all know I don't win on Foot Locker, bro. Like that's why I don't even touch Foot Locker. I am like Foot Locker less, bro.
I don't doubt it.
Foot Locker don't like me.
I don't doubt it, but damn.
Foot Locker don't like me.
I don't doubt it, but damn.
They don't like me.
He said, "Give you that L." Especially them EQL raffles. Give you that L in that EQL raffle, and yeah, send them joints on the GOAT. Let them buy it from there. Shoot.
G-Fish, you right, bro. You still don't trust any of them. Do your own research, bro. That's why every time we get a shoe, we absolutely lock that bad boy in. We do our research, and then we go ahead on other sites to go ahead and look. But we absolutely always do our own research. Spot on, bro. Spot on.
Facts.
Stone Cold. Yes, sir.
Man.
Stone DDT.
Man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. For real. Go ahead, Jay. Yep.
Hey, listen, chat. Listen, man. This is a community where we all help each other, build each other up. And listen, man, you guys are the driving force, man. Go ahead, like, tap, share, subscribe if you have not done so. We are all here for each other, man. This is just a big revolving circle of love. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I mean, look, I think overall we're gonna see what's gonna happen with the program that StockX is using. Again, the whole verification process that's going on with secondary items. And look, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if these tariffs hold true and then prices are gonna go to where they are, I really do feel like backhandedly, like even though like imports are getting like, you gotta understand, like when you guys are ordering your items from like your Temu or something like that, like they ain't necessarily seeing a tariff on them. It's usually some very large items, some very large shipping that's seeing the tariffs to be brought here into the United States. That being said, if the retail stuff is up like that, do you guys on the panel believe there could be an uptick, even more so when it comes to people going after the fake items?
Okay, so let me ask you this question.
And let's remove sneakers out of it. Let's remove sneakers
out of it. So let me ask you this question then. And I want to really say this to a point because I want people to understand what I'm saying, because I know when I say something, I really do it when I give hints, but we understand how fakes come over here. But how do fakes really get over here? And so with that question being said, I think that's a very good question where you kicks. But the question is, would those fakes would they get a tariff on them as well? So how do they get over here? you see where I'm going? How do they get over here? So we've already been paying. Listen, not y'all, whoever been buying fakes, y'all already been paying a tariff. I'm just gonna call it.
So, and again, I said let's remove sneakers out of it. If any of y'all been in New York City, most of us been in New York City. There's areas in New York City where they'll take you down into the basement, and they got Gucci, Prada, Fendi. They got all this stuff just lined up around the area, especially around there in Chinatown. Most people, the naked eye, wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Some people, they know they're going in there knowing that the shit ain't real, okay? But they buy it anyhow. Y'all, like, if y'all knew what the fake purse market is in America, you'd be absolutely floored. That's why I said take sneakers out of it, because y'all don't understand the amount of consumption that women buy of stuff that ain't legitimately from that particular brand stores.
I'm gonna say this. So, would you consider a fake if I buy an Apple phone, an Apple case, and I take supposedly real Louis Vuitton leather, however I got it, and I add it to this phone case? Would you consider that to be a fake, a UA? Because it's not produced by that company. It's the real material. I'm just curious, because I'm going somewhere with this.
So somebody got sued for taking Nikes and like making wallets out of them and selling them. Now, partly because Nike was selling like their own style Nike wallets, but someone got sued for that. Okay. They were deconstructing the shoe and then like was making wallets out of it and stuff. Now King Mike says that's a custom. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. It's a custom depending on your level of clout. Because who came at Ben Affleck for them Travis Scott Chicago highs? When they was promoting the movie Air. Who came at him? Nobody. Then there was custom. You used to catch Perp walking around with those on? Them Jones fake. He got fakes on.
So, let me make my point.
Go ahead.
Who is the biggest prominent New York stylist from the 80s who right now got his name for doing all this stuff?
Dapper Dan.
Perp, say it again.
Who?
Dapper Dan.
Dapper Dan. Perp, why you in my brain, bro? Get out of my...
Damn.
What? Listen, Dapper Dan from the 80s, right? You had all kind of hip-hop crazy artists, even celebrities outside of the hip-hop realm who would go to Dapper Dan and say, hey, here goes the material. Put this fit to me together. So Dapper Dan got his name from making nothing into something, and now look where he's at right now. He really has that deal with was that Adidas or Puma? That's Puma. He has a deal with. So I want to, and the reason why I'm going with that is because that guy right there is such an amazing fashion designer who made nothing into something for artists who came all over the world to go see him when they came to New York. So what I'm saying is that sometimes, right, people go to other people for these customs that are fake with the real material. So how we gonna label it? So and you said it to your point. Celebrities. You're a celebrity. Oh, it's not a fake. But for regular degular schmegler like us, hey, bruh, you ain't trill.
Facts.
That's the point I wanted to go with. That's all I'm saying.
Facts.
That's all I'm saying.
Facts. Yeah, I mean, but like, listen, it's interesting too, because if you all recall, there was a time period to where, especially with the celebrities, they was all trying to find the most rare custom they could find and rock them. But if we spit in facts right now, that's part of how Yeezy Buster got his name. If y'all remember that, he used to go through celebrities' photos and basically call them out for wearing. They called them custom. He said, you know, Adidas never made those. Nike never made those. Those is fakes. That's how he got his name. That's how he made his name. You know, so it a lot of times, like, correct, like, to your point, like, you talking about Dapper Dan, right? Someone sees you with a fit and it's like, hold up, Nike never made that. Oh, but I got it from so and so. Oh, okay, it's valid then. Am I lying though? Am I lying?
Perception is a monster. Let's be honest. Perception is a monster. And it depends upon your clout, depends upon the perception.
I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. But even then, like, okay. To that point, right, there's always levels of clout. Because think about if, all right, Perp, so you live in the Chicago area. If your boy Unbreakable Kicks was caught walking around the city in some quote-unquote customs, some custom Travis Scotts, where do you think things will fall? Like, you think he'll get love? People like him, like, oh, those are dope customs, or people will come at him and be like, nah, you gotta get them fakes off your feet?
It becomes a slippery slope, and given the fact that, you know, he is not, going back to your earlier point, an A-list celebrity or anything like that, or very well-known person globally, then no, absolutely not. It questions the validity of, okay, you sell sneakers, are they real? Are they custom? Like, what are we doing this as a guise of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it begins to plant the seed of doubts within, you know, his business. That's just from my perspective. But, you know, it's a hypocrisy when you think about it, because then you say, okay, now we got Kanye West from Chicago as well, walking around with some custom Chicago Travis Scotts on. It changes the perception a little bit there, right? Because you now have access to allocated resources that, say, Unbreakable Kicks does not, as far as connections and designers go. So it's a slippery slope. It could go either way, really, just depending on who's looking at it from their viewpoint.
I mean, look, some people, if they're high enough, could just be like, oh, this is a friends and family pair. You just don't know nothing about them. And from my understanding, apparently there are like secret friends and family shoes out there that the public has never seen, but some people actually own.
Not Unbreakable Kicks, I can tell you that now.
That's a whole different story.
The perfect pair. Now he got some work. The perfect pair got a lot of stuff, bro.
Man,
so
G said Unbreakable already got questioned before about fakes.
Yeah, I heard about, someone told me that story too. It was like during a stream he was doing or something like that. Like, but until I know what stream it is to even go back and look and see what's going on, I can't call it. Let's see, 2000 to 2015, there are a lot of these rappers wearing fake Jordans, and they've even admitted it themselves. I didn't know they were fake at first. And so, see, and that's the thing right there. Because it's one of your quote-unquote favorite artists. You looking what he got on feet, you like, damn, what are those? I want a pair. and then he comes out and lets you know what these is fakes.
Somebody got busted out a few years ago for wearing those fake Eminem 3s. I can't remember who it was or whatever.
Ooh, didn't they throw him into the crowd?
Yeah, you remember that?
Didn't they throw them into the crowd or something like that? I remember that.
Yeah, that was a few years ago. It's crazy.
He said, "Just reserve my pair of Air Jordan 11 bread loaves." Okay.
And Miles is out of Chicago area too.
There
What
you
up?
go. You know, I'm not up on the bread loaves like that. I thought maybe I would go for them, but personally, and that's no shade to you, bro. Like, I feel like 11 loaves are a great summertime shoe. It's one of those things where I like them, but I just wouldn't wear them.
Yeah, you either love them or hate them for the 11 lows at least.
Yeah,
Just like Jordan 1 lows, you either love them or hate them. There is no in between.
facts. Chat, man, y'all been great. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us once again. One Pair at a Time podcast channel, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every Saturday. Make sure you have those notification bells turned on because you never know when we may pop up during the week for a live. Perp, what you got, man, to close out?
Yo, chat, man. Hey, thank y'all for rocking out with us, man, on another Lucky Live Saturday, man. The lives were clearly lucky for some, not so lucky for others.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. Next time, tap in with us, man. We got some really good stuff coming up. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tap that like button, set your notifications up for all. So whenever everyone drops a video, it goes directly to your feed.
Jay?
Chat, man, without y'all, this is not possible. Listen, man, Perp said it perfectly, man. Like, y'all are the driving force. So we definitely out here as a community, definitely like, man, to push forward. And listen, man, I don't know where else y'all gonna get information from, talking about stocks to shoes to outside of kicks. We about it all over here. Most importantly, man, I got to get off because, you know, to the most important person in my life, man, I definitely want to give him his props, my son. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's definitely,
Happy birthday, nephew.
Yeah, today is his day. So, you know, I gotta do whatever he want to do, man. So I gotta get to my son, man, and definitely shout out to him on his birthday.
How old's your son?
Man, he's 12.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So big day for him. So definitely want to share his day with him.
So let me ask you this, because I hear the way you be getting on him sometimes. What if he said, "All right, Dad, time to run me my fade. What's up?" It's my birthday. Time to run me my fade.
Hey, man, listen, man. Like, you just gotta make sure, man. You gotta make sure your kids understand who balls with. At the same time, you gotta give them all the love possible. You gotta get them they love, man.
Hey, this ain't where your kicks is beat your kids.
Hey, man. Nah, see, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Nah, man. Shout out to your son, bro. Hopefully he's got a great birthday. He asked for any kicks?
My son does not care about kicks, bro. He never has cared about kicks. My son is into. No, man. My son is like, I've tried. My son is all about scripting. He's all about robotics. That's his love, bro. Mm-hmm. He also loves to do 3D printing. So like that's his thing. And I will never discourage that because that's who he is. And I absolutely 100% encourage him to always be himself. And man, like he loves scripting. Listen, my son is 12 years old and he has a thick book like this thick, talk about Python on scripting. My son been scripting like, listen, he's been already since last year reading on the 8th grade level, bro. Like he's on a different planet, man. So I'm gonna let him shine the way he needs to shine.
Tyler asked if your son knows how to read PLC logic.
Do you read PLC logic?
Not yet.
He said not yet. He's been with me this whole time on my lives, man. Kicking. He kicked with me all the time. So not yet. Right. But he's all about it, bro. He's all about it.
That's good stuff, man.
Yep.
Listen, keep it up.
Yep.
Keep it up. Stay on that. Stay on that.
Hey nephew, I need a Nike 3D printed swoosh. Get to work.
There
There we
you want a
go.
3D printed swoosh.
There we go.
Hey, just to let you guys know too, like my son been working on his 3D printing, man, and like he did some pretty dope stuff, and he's getting good at it. And he gave me some for my birthday for 3D printing, a Jordan 1. So just let me know if y'all need some, man. Like I said, he's working on it, and shout out to y'all. Much respect.
He 3D printed you a Jordan 1?
Oh, it's dope too.
Yeah, it's a
Where's
little.
it at?
It's a little joint.
You can't beat the color.
Yeah, like right here. So it says birthday. So he doing his thing, man.
Okay. That's dope. That's
Yeah,
dope.
he's definitely getting better at it, man.
That's dope. All right, chat. Well, listen, man, we appreciate y'all. Make sure you have a safe and productive Saturday, safe and productive weekend. Make sure, like I said, man, you catch us next week, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, One Pair at a Time podcast channel. Reminding you guys that YouTube can have a great collection, but it comes one pair at a time. And we are out, y'all. Catch y'all next time. Peace.